Hello, and welcome to the Crowley ISD PLC Curriculum Preview. I am Troy Shepard, the Crowley ISD Science Coordinator. I look forward to working with teachers and instructional leaders throughout the school year. Please feel free to communicate with me any questions or for any additional support you may need throughout the school year. In this video, we will identify curriculum hotspots and provide a real-time instructional strategy called 9 Squares, as well as incorporate Fundamental 5 strategies. At the end of this video, teachers will complete the PLC for Science PLC for Readiness Standard B12C. The we will, I will statements shown are examples of how to frame a lesson as listed in the Fundamental 5. Unit 1, Science, Safety, and Evidence-Based Thinking Concepts will not be tested individually due to the scientific investigation and reasoning skills, also known as process standards, being embedded in all readiness standard concepts. These standards will be continuously taught throughout the entire school year and will be dual-coded on the EOC assessment questions. At least 40% of the EOC test questions will be dual-coded. Unit 2, Ecology, and Unit 3, Biochemistry, will be taught and tested during this 6 weeks. Please pause for a moment to review the Unit 2 Local Assessment Blueprint. As you can see, 12 instructional days will be utilized for Unit 2. The district has allowed for 3 days at the beginning of the 6 weeks to allow for beginning of year procedures. September 2nd through September 17th are instructional days for Unit 2. As per the local assessment guidelines, the Unit 2 local assessment will be available for printing purposes on September 15th, and the unit should be assessed on September 18th. As per the local assessment guidelines, teachers are to administer unit assessments within 3 days upon completion of the unit. Materials teachers will need are the Unit 2 IFD, Organization Instruction using the TEKS Standard Types document, PLC for Science PLC document, and green, yellow, and blue highlighters. Now let's look at the Unit 3 Local Assessment Blueprint, pausing the video to discuss. Discussion points should include instructional dates, assessment posting, assessment date, and the number of days for teaching the unit. At this time, we will be using the organizing instruction using the TEKS Standard Types document. For the purpose of today's PLC preview, we will be using the Unit 2 IFD entitled Ecology. At this time, please read the TEKS listed on pages 6 through 26 of the IFD. As you review the TEKS, highlight in yellow the supporting standards and highlight the readiness standards in green. All remaining standards are process standards and will be highlighted in blue. If necessary, please refer to the organizing instruction using the TEKS Standard Types document to review the description and each standard's role in learning. Take note that the blue process standards will fall into one of 2 basic categories: how students access learning or how students demonstrate learning. Please take a moment to complete this task. Now, use the highlighted IFD as a key to place each standard in the corresponding color-coded graphic organizer. Please take a moment to review the placement of each of the standards. Notice for this unit there are 5 readiness standards: B7E, B11D, B12A, B12C, and B12F. It is important to note, as stated on the IFD and indicated by the star, that this is the last time standards 11D, 12A, 12B, 12C, 12D, 12E, and 12F will be taught prior to the EOC assessment. In biology, the process standards, or scientific investigation and reasoning skills, will be incorporated into at least 40% of the EOC assessed items. This diagram helps illustrate that when planning for instruction, it is vital that concepts be taught in connection with process standards. Students use the scientific processes to acquire and demonstrate scientific understanding. The tools to know process standards act as a stimulus for students by providing strategies and structures students use to access learning. Some examples include the use of lab equipment and asking well-defined questions. The ways to show process standards provide an opportunity for students to demonstrate understanding and communicate through an application of learning. Some examples are analyze and interpret information, communicate valid conclusions, construct appropriate graphs, and develop a model, just to mention a few. For the first 6 weeks, the curriculum preview will target Standard B12C. Based on the heat map data, please pause and discuss, what does the data tell us about B12C? I chose this SE based on the heat map data that shows that this is an area of high concern. Based on your knowledge from previous or current observations, what are your predictions or percent of student mastery for the TEKS referenced during the 14-15 school year? Now let's focus specifically on the hotspot. As you can see, this is a readiness standard. This standard is part of Category 5, Interdependence within Environmental Systems, which makes up 20% of the EOC Blueprint assessment. At this time, we will pause for small group purposeful talk to discuss seed questions, both of which are attributes of the Fundamental 5. During this time, focus specifically on the previously identified hotspots. The questions for discussion are, what concepts did students learn in the previous grade to prepare them? This can be found in the unit overview of the IFD. Also, in the unit overview, look at how the student will use that concept in subsequent grades. Will the way you teach it help prepare students for future learning? In the Underdeveloped Concepts and Misconceptions section of the IFD, what underdeveloped concept plays a role in student success of the targeted skill? Also, what common misconception deter students from being successful? From the listed vocabulary, which terminology will play a key role to ensure mastery? And last, how have you taught this content in the past, and how will you teach it differently this year? Please keep in mind that small group purposeful talk about the learning typically lasts between 30 seconds and 3 minutes per question. Please pause the video at this time to allow for discussion. Using the PLC for Science PLC page as a tool for creating lessons, classroom instruction will move to a higher level of understanding as well as offer opportunities for students to transfer information. Now that the readiness standard B12C has been targeted and the content of the standard has been developed, time will be spent on the instructional process. Take time now to discuss what stimulus could be used to address B12C. For today's purpose, we have selected graph, chart, and table. Next, discuss 2 to 5 thinking opportunities for students to demonstrate their thinking. This will occur every 8 to 10 minutes during the whole group instruction. Please pause the video now to discuss a thinking strategy. As an example, I have selected the 3 thinking strategies: evaluate, justify, classify, categorize, and communicate. From the instructional strategies column, we will demonstrate the 9 squares instructional strategy, which could be an example of a cooperative learning structure, an exit ticket, or a formative assessment. This is not an exhaustive list of all the instructional strategies. Please feel free to choose other high-yield instructional strategies. The next slides will demonstrate the 9 squares or magic square method. The magic square strategy can be applied at every grade level K through 12. The strategy makes matching more interesting and interactive for students. To begin the activity, magic squares are assigned numbers which, when added across, down, or diagonally, always equal the same sum. Here are the steps. Direct students to match a lettered column of terms to a numbered column of definitions. Explain that students find the magic number by matching the correct term and definition. The students then enter the number for the definition in the appropriate term square on the grid. For example, term A, electron cloud, matches definition 8, where the electrons are found. so the students will place an 8 in the A box. Once the box is completely filled in, students will add across, down, and diagonally. All the sums should equal the same number. Students will know if any of their answers have been incorrectly placed if the sums do not equal each other. Teachers can use any number of squares for the puzzle. Benefits of the 9 squares are independent practice, self-checking, and immediate teacher feedback. This instructional strategy can provide formative assessment information and collaboration among students. This strategy will also enable teachers to move into a facilitative, feedback-giving role and rove around the room as needed. Standing just about anywhere, teachers can easily hear students' conversations and see their thinking evolve. This method incorporates working in the power zone, small group purposeful talk about the learning, and opportunities to recognize and reinforce effort from the fundamental 5. Look at the evidence of learning column. Discuss and select what products can be used to show evidence of learning. Think about the questions: how will we know when students have mastered the concept? How will students demonstrate their thinking? And how will students show mastery of the content? An integral part of the PLC process is how to plan for intervention. Take time now to discuss the following questions and what they may look like on your campus. How will we provide students with additional time and support in a timely, directive, and systematic way when students experience difficulty? Also, how can we enrich the learning of students who are already proficient? I appreciate you participating in the PLC Curriculum Preview. When you plan on implementing 9 Squares instructional strategy, please invite me, as I would like to come and see in a classroom the implementation of this strategy. If you have suggestions for future curriculum previews, please submit those ideas to tshepherd@crowley.k12.tx.us. Also, I would like to hear from you if you have an instructional strategy that you would like to showcase in upcoming videos. Finally, please be sure to submit a copy of the PLC for the Science PLC document and organizing instruction using the TEKS standard types to the appropriate campus designee. Thank you for your time, and remember that I am here to serve you.